fucking scoot back a little so I guess so I don't punch the microphone. Hey, come listen to our podcast, yeah. Please listen, it's a hitch. If you don't listen to our podcast, yeah, then you are a bitch.
I watched the other guys earlier today. Because it's on Netflix. They're taking it off on the 30th, so I was like, "Yeah, I better watch this before it gets taken off." It's such a
great movie.
It's great, but Stephanie sat there and watched it for a few minutes. She's like, "This is so stupid." I was like, "It's a Will Ferrell movie. Of course, it's stupid."
It's supposed to be. That's the whole point. It's wonderful. It's a wonderful movie. Well, everybody, welcome to Filmoscopy, a podcast where two friends get together, over the phone, and record their thoughts about a movie that one of the two has brought to the table. I am today's host,
with
Lance.
the most.
Lance. With the most girth. Everybody, Lance, say hi to everybody. Hello. And this is my co-host and only co-host who's ever been on this podcast, Cody. Cody, say hi to everybody.
Hello, everyone.
We're just gonna do like WWE, and when somebody gets released, you never mention them again.
Yeah, Owen went and signed with AEW, so we can't acknowledge him anymore.
Oh God. Yeah. Let me grab a moist wipe real quick. My hands are sticky.
A moist towelette. Yeah, our Mississippi Queen, Owen, who knows when he'll actually be ready to record again. So this is probably the first of, I would say, a minimum of 2 episodes.
Yeah, I'd say 2 as well.
Yeah.
He said they finally found a place. I don't know when they're going to get moved in. And
yeah, I know he has to get his computer down there too. So I know this episode and the next episode for sure will just be us two. So
yeah. But we wish Owen the best, and we miss him. Today's episode. Also, I gotta do a quick shout out to a YouTube channel called the Venom Vlog. It's ran by a man named Seek. I wish I knew his last name. I should probably do better research on that.
Seek Venom.
No, it's not that. Actually, let me look it up. I'm an idiot. Hold on.
Venom.
I forgot my phone could actually do that. I'm like, what does my phone can do?
Venom.
What can Brown do for you? Let's see here. Venom blog. This is great podcasting here. Seek Donnelly. I just want to thank Seek for sharing our last episode, The Batman. Well, not the last episode from this recording, but the last one we just released from this recording.
Yeah, because I think this is actually like 3 episodes later in the.
Yeah, 3 episodes. 3 episodes ago, Seek Donnelly shared it on his YouTube channel and actually listened to it and sent me an email back reviewing it. So appreciate to Seek. I don't know why I said Zeke like Ezekiel, but Seek. The Batman episode, I think Cody did a great job on the editing of it, making it, seem presentable. I was hoping to do better numbers, but we probably missed the Batman, wave on Twitter. But I'm sure it'll pick back up next month when somebody wants to argue about the Dark Knight and the Batman again.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely missed because. Gosh, I mean, we missed both waves of it. We missed the wave of it's in theaters, and we missed the wave of it being put on HBO Max. So, but
yeah, but eventually, our catalog will pick back up once we hit it big.
Yeah, well, that's sort of the thing, right? Is all the episodes are meant to be if any new people come along, they're like, oh well, I'm gonna go back and see if they reviewed any movies I'm interested in or whatever, and. That's sort of the whole purpose for doing it that way. Instead of just being a general hey, let's talk about movie news or something,
Yeah. And, it's I just like having this because at least I know I'm contributing something that's in the ether. And if somebody ever listens to it, I'm just extremely honored with it. And, for most people that listen to us, the reviews that I've gotten from people, our friends and, just other people that's listened.
Yeah, it's just, and we do this as like more like a hobby more than anything. So, um, it on average we probably have like 40 to 45 listens per episode. If you averaged everything out,
yeah, that's true.
And
our average dropped down when you made the second season. We should have just had one continuous season.
I didn't realize it was going to do that, but
that's why we should have just had like one season that lasted forever.
Yeah,
we got
until at least there's like a really big shakeup or something, like, oh, Owen's leaving permanently, so we got to get a new co-host or whatever.
Yeah, I know. I hope that never happens.
Yeah.
Well, today's episode is going to be covering two topics. The first one, me and Owen are going to do probably 20 minutes. Quick for us, we go on tangents, but people like our tangents. We're going to do a quick review of the first 4 episodes of Obi-Wan and our thoughts so far on that series. And then after that, we're going to be reviewing the movie I picked, Commando, 1985. Arnold Schwarzenegger starring. I have some facts on that movie. All right, Cody. Me and you had texted back and forth a little bit on the show Obi-Wan. And let's just get our thoughts out, and don't be influenced by what you've read on Twitter, because you're kind of like me, but sometimes, or a lot of times, me and you end up on the other side of the fence from each other. So we like to argue. Or I like to argue. I don't know why I do it. It's fun. But it's like, you'll read something online which doesn't really jive with what you're feeling with. So when you state an opinion, you're almost like lashing out at the other opinion. Like, how you said most people are bitching about the third sister.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
so I'm gonna let it up to you. What do you think so far of the 4 episodes, and what do you think of the show so far?
I like it. Before the show actually started, they did interviews where they said, Obi-Wan has cut himself off from the Force. So I wasn't expecting it to just go like balls to the wall, lightsaber fights every 10 minutes or anything like that. I like that there's this connection with Leia, and I like that it explains why. Because this is one of the things we talked about during our sequel trilogy review, where we talked about, like, how in the world, why would they name Kylo Ren, why would they name him Ben when they had no idea who Ben was? And this kind of explains that, and I like that. I think
that's a really good point. I never thought about that at all.
I think the acting is good all around. Ewan McGregor is fantastic, and just like hearing him speak, he sounds more and more like, I can't remember the actor's name that played Obi-Wan in the original trilogy.
Alec Guinness.
Yeah, he's definitely doing a good job of like transitioning between like being a young Obi-Wan Kenobi in the prequels to sounding more like Alec Guinness in the original trilogy. I like the characters. I like that Vader. I definitely think that this series is teasing like it's going to be Vader and Obi-Wan in the final episode. I will say that there's not a lot of tension in the show because we already know what happens to Obi-Wan, and we know what happens to Vader, and we know what happens to Leia. So like the only question marks you really have for characters is like the third sister and the other Inquisitors, because outside of that, you already know what happens to these other characters. But it's still an enjoyable show, and I do think that they're doing a good job of every episode. Like, he's trying to get in touch with the Force again, and they're doing a good job of like showing that he's slowly getting back there. It's not like flipping on a switch where, after being cut off for all those years, he's able to just be like, all right, well, here we go. I can stand toe to toe with Darth Vader, who's been terrorizing the galaxy, But yeah.
But let me ask you, so how do you feel about Vader's portrayal so far?
I like it. I I think when they first show him when they first show him in action in the show, when he's walking through that little village and he's like just like slaughtering people as he goes, I like that sort of stuff.
Yeah, snapping necks and cashing checks.
Yeah. I like that sort of stuff because, and it's a lot like what Rogue One did with the hallway scene. You know, you were always supposed to be afraid of Vader in the original trilogy and all that, but watching it, you never really had a reason to be afraid because mostly besides dueling, you know, Obi-Wan or Luke Skywalker, mostly all he does is like talk and he like, you know, choke out a general or whatever here and there. So I like that sort of stuff because it's like, oh, like this is a reason for people to actually fear him. I like that they got James Earl Jones back as the voice again, which I'm sure is no problem for him. He'll probably do it till the day he dies. But yeah, I mean,
I think they I know he's come back as the voice. I also think they've done some computer work to help enhance the voice in some spots because he is 91, and someone did a comparison on a video I saw, like the Lion King from like 1994 to the Lion King they did in 2016 or whenever that live action one was, and his voice is just way different.
Yeah,
because he's old. He's 91. I'm not gonna sit there and complain about his voice. It is. I think like some people were suggesting that maybe it was just Hayden Christensen's voice, and they were putting the Vader like voice over what he was saying, and James Earl Jones actually isn't doing it, which hopefully is not the case. Eventually, I guess they will. When they do a featurette on it in about 6 months, like they did on Boba Fett and The Mandalorian before, they'll show what they actually did.
Yeah, I don't think that that's the case. I think you're probably right. Is they had James Earl Jones record the voice, and you know it could be that Hayden Christensen, you know, spoke the dialogue in the scenes when they were acting it out, but they probably had James Earl Jones actually record the voiceover. And you're right, they probably they had to have gone through and, you know, really like worked on it to make it sound a lot smoother and cleaner than what it would naturally, because like you said, he is in his 90s. So
yeah. I guess I'll go ahead and get my thoughts, and I'll get to my Vader thoughts and all that. My thoughts on the show is I like it. I also think the show is underwhelming. Other than The Mandalorian Season 1 and Season 2, which felt like there was a window for Star Wars to grow, like underneath this leadership. Like, okay, they can still tell stories. That it's like, okay, this is going to be awesome. They can tell stories and we can get a good show out of them. Because The Mandalorian Season 1 was a sleeper hit. Season 2 was absolutely incredible. And that, like, lead up to the ending of Episode 2 when Luke showed up. It's like, oh my God, you know, they reintroduced Boba Fett, which, you know, was just like a fucking nerd boner for me. And it's like, oh man, this is incredible. I was super stoked for the Book of Boba Fett. That was like the most hyped I'd been since the Venom movie.
Yeah.
From 3 years prior to that. And the Swamp Thing show that came out in 2019. Boba Fett was a huge misstep, though. It's like, okay, so they don't have it all together, is what scares me. Though, you know, my grievances on Boba Fett are they completely changed his character from, like, how he was portrayed in the expanded universe, which I don't have a problem with. When you have awesome story material you could draw from, and you don't use it and you replace it with something shitty is where I have a problem with it. If you replace it with something better or something that I can like feasibly work with, that's fine. Boba Fett in the Book of Boba Fett show does not even match the Boba Fett that's in Mandalorian Season 2. Stone cold, badass, you know, he's trying to talk with a more gravelly voice instead of the Jango Fett voice. Like Tamora Morrison is talking as an older man, but he's trying to make his voice more graveled as Boba Fett, like the original Boba Fett voice was in Empire Strikes Back from Jason Wingreen. And that's the voice I prefer, and I don't like that they replaced him with Tamora Morrison. I get it, he's a clone, but that's BS because, like, you know, they started giving all the other clones of Jango Fett and the clone troopers different voices. So you could have kept the the Wingreen voice, which is the actor's last name. I'm just obviously not a fan of erasing actors' contributions to the franchise.
Yeah,
like they should still be recognized. And when you erase Jason Wingreen's voice from Boba Fett or replace Old Man Anakin's ghost in Return of the Jedi, you're erasing that actor's contribution.
Yeah, and I just want to say, like, for every, don't get me wrong, we've talked about this plenty on our Star Wars episodes, but like the faults that Disney has with like their Star Wars stuff. But let's not forget that like George Lucas made a lot of like weird, screwed up decisions in his time before Disney was ever involved. You know.
Yes, it is a not troubled franchise. It's made a shit ton of money. It is a franchise that's really weird. Like, how many other franchises go back and literally change the original movies to fit the prequels you made 20 years later?
Yeah.
You know, it's like, obviously, the Boba Fett voice was one thing. The Anakin Skywalker Force Ghost, which doesn't make any sense because Anakin shouldn't know how to be a Force Ghost since Obi-Wan said he had... Yoda told Obi-Wan he had to train to do it because he learned from Qui-Gon. And then obviously the Darth Vader no added in Return of the Jedi, which is just fucking terrible. 9 out of 10 people will agree with us and say that's a terrible addition. But he did that to make it fit to Episode 3, which was stupid. So Lucas is not, I'm not absolving Lucas. I will say about the Obi-Wan show, and this is why I was bringing up the prequels and what Lucas did. This Obi-Wan show actually makes me want to go back and watch the prequels. Like to have a better appreciation. I love the acting. I don't think the acting is bad in this show. I was about to say movie. Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan's incredible. I mean, Darth Vader's awesome. He does look a little smaller to me because Hayden Christensen is smaller. The guy who played Vader originally, I believe his name was David Prowse, was 6'6".
Right.
He was a big dude. And Hayden Christensen is, probably like 6'2", 6'3". So there's a little bit of a difference. He looks a little tall. He looks like somebody playing Darth Vader. He doesn't look like Darth Vader to me.
Gotcha.
Well, I can deal with it because, I mean, he kicked ass in that scene. The third sister, which I can't remember the actress's name. I know her last name is Moses. She's been on the receiving end of like some racist comments, or a lot of racist comments, people just kind of yelling at her, and it's just stupid for the fandom. I think people give social media too much power in the wrong situations and not enough power in the right situations. The whole cancel culture thing has, turned into like almost like its own meme, from where it was originally supposed to do, and nobody ever gets punished with it. No one's ever truly canceled because people still keep getting jobs. And I don't think people should get canceled just on a whim. But if you have, like, obviously evidence to back it up, you should be canceled for if you're doing something terrible like what those people are doing. But with her, it's unfortunate that she is faced with, these racist comments. Same stuff that happened to, I can't remember her first name, but the actress played Rose in episode 8 and 9.
Is it
something Kelly Tran?
Let me look it up real quick. I think I could have swore that Tran is part of her name.
I want to say Kelly. I could be wrong, obviously.
It is Kelly Marie Tran.
Okay, Kelly Marie Tran.
Yeah.
And she faced it too. And it's unfortunate, I think, lazy people, when they have complaints about something, will just target something. Kelly Tran is not the reason why The Last Jedi wasn't a good movie to me.
No, not at all.
That's not it.
Yeah.
And that's like, what is the one thing that doesn't look like the other? And it's her, because she's Asian. So they pick her out and they start hurling these terrible comments at her. And it sucks, as being a part of the Star Wars fandom, to hear that. And with the actress playing the third sister, it's not her fault. I think her character is boring. And when I was reading, someone did a little bit of a leak on the show, and I read up on it. I was like, oh, whatever. I'm not going to spoil anything for myself because I know Obi-Wan lives. But they said this show wasn't really an Obi-Wan show. It was more of the actress's, her character's name. That's the third sister. I don't know what her actual name is. Yeah, it was actually her show.
See,
and there's going to be... there's going to be something at the end of episode 6 that shows you that.
Okay.
And it's like, okay.
I mean, because so far I don't really agree with that. I mean, she does have a large focus, but that, to me it makes sense because she is the one that is like kind of leading the charge on hunting down Obi-Wan. We have 2 episodes left. It could change, but I agree. Like especially after seeing, for those who don't know, they released the first 2 episodes on the first day, on the premiere date. And after that, like, you get all these people making racist remarks and stuff about her. You get people, like, ragging on the actress that plays Leia. I mean, a 10-year-old girl. And it's just, this is one of the reasons, or it is the main reason, I don't get involved in Star Wars fandom online, whether it's Twitter or Reddit or whatever, because it is just so full of vitriol. It's
very toxic.
Yeah, it's an extremely toxic
as soon as you get on a
community.
page, you can just feel it.
Mm-hmm.
You can feel it on your fingertips and in your heart. You're like, God, this just sucks. I mean, there's a lot of them are saying what you kind of already think about something, but it's really turned into like everything. It's a us versus them type of deal. It's went for me and you having fun, being on the opposite side of the fence, arguing about something. Because me and you have argued about The Last Jedi before, and now we've actually switched spots on the side of the fence. I'm on the side of the fence where it's like, it's okay. You actually hate it now. So we've been on both sides of the fence, and we're having fun with it. There's sometimes it gets a little heated, but we're having fun. And it's like you take that and ramp it up to 1,000, and that's what everybody's interaction is online.
Oh, yeah.
When it comes to this. And it's just like, because it's just like, no, fuck you and your mother. And I'm going to skull fuck your dad. It's like, hold up, people. I don't care if you like Rian Johnson's movie or if you like the new Chewbacca.
And let's be honest, it's completely ridiculous for people to act like that for multiple reasons. But one of the main reasons is like this is literally these movies and shows are basically toy commercials. That's what they are.
Yes.
We enjoy watching them, some of it, but that is essentially what it is. I mean, Lucas designed it that way back in the day, and he made a ton of money off of toys.
Yep.
So arguing over it is just silly. It's almost the same as if we saw a freaking Play-Doh commercial and argued because the purple wasn't bright enough or something. You know what I mean? Like,
yes, it is very, very exhausting, and I mean, it's never going to end because that's the one thing about social media. Like, social media is like it gives a voice to the voiceless, but it also shows you that some of the voiceless should remain voiceless. Yeah. I'm not trying to like be silenced, but some people just don't have good opinions. They don't thought out. Everybody wants to be heard. Everybody wants to be pissed off about something. That's the easiest way to be heard. And I've fallen into that trap a million times. So I'm not sitting there like, oh, look at me. I'm so much better than everybody.
Oh, yeah. Especially,
I know what it is because I've done it.
Especially like,
I've fallen into it.
Especially when you're like 18, 19 years old. Because, I mean, I see some of the stuff I posted back then. It's like, oof. Which is never anything like that, like racist or anything of that nature. It's mostly just like getting pissy about something that's like just absolutely stupid to get pissed off about.
Yeah, and it's like, you are one-sided in your argument. You're like, no, that's not it. Because when you're so much younger, you sit there and think like everything's got to be like right and wrong and by the book.
Yeah. And
then when you get older, you start realizing that, okay, like you say you're arguing about something like me and you are Limp Bizkit fans.
Yeah.
And me and you both thought that Wes Borland was a pretentious prick when he left the band. And he is a pretentious prick, but we always kind of took the side of the band in that because we're like, oh, we want the band to put out more stuff. We love it. Well, it turns out, there's always multiple sides of the story, but we were always looking for one. And that's what everybody does. They latch on to one side, and they want that side to be right. Go no further than Amber Heard and Johnny Depp, Yeah. But anyway, on the Obi-Wan show, we'll go back to that. It's just a whole tangent. It doesn't matter what you say, you're going to be wrong. I enjoy the show. The one biggest gripe I have with the show, and I've told you about this like in our group text with Owen, you've promised 6 episodes. You can't do much more on this show because in 5 years, Star Wars time, Star Wars Rebels happen. And Obi-Wan Kenobi already looks like Alec Guinness on that fucking show, and he kills Darth Maul.
Right.
So you can't do enough. I mean, Obi-Wan, you can do a little bit more with Obi-Wan. But you've promised us 6 episodes. And the 4th episode is 38 minutes long. You know, I don't know what it is about people. You can write a story and make it, a 6-hour story. The Lord of the Rings did it in 3 movies, and each one of those movies was 6 hours long. I make a joke, but those books have enough story, and respect to the Lord of the Rings fandom. I've never watched the movies, but they have a source material, and from what I understand, the creators of the movies stayed very close to that material. Not saying they got everything completely on the nose, but they got for the most part. But for Star Wars, it's constantly things being retconned, things being changed just to fit a movie that was made 20 years later and all this other crap. And I made a comment to Cody. Cody won't remember this, but when we first started hanging out, probably about a year into it, they released Mortal Kombat 9. And Mortal Kombat 9 was the first Mortal Kombat title underneath the NetherRealm Studios banner, which is owned by Warner Brothers. And Mortal Kombat 9 was a retelling of Mortal Kombat 1, 2, and 3. And I'm like, man, this is going to be awesome. Now they're going to tell the story and not have to retcon anything. Well, 2 games later, Mortal Kombat 11, they're already retconning half the shit.
Yeah.
And so it didn't matter. They kept retconning everything in the old games. Everybody's like, oh, those are just fighting games. Don't worry about the story. But they kept retconning it. And then when we get to Disney, I remember thinking when Disney bought Star Wars, I'm like, man, I don't have to worry about anybody fucking changing anything and retconning these 3 movies that are going to come out. They're going to be fucking awesome. And not awesome I was going to have any issues. I was going to be completely just, sucking off Disney. But I was thinking, well, these guys are going to make the movies, and I'm not going to have to worry about them being changed in 15 years,
Yeah.
And then, Episode 7 comes out, and you're like, okay, I remember not liking it at first, and then Alex and I were discussing it, and he talked me into, rewatching it again. I rewatched it, and I'm like, okay, you know what, I like it. And then Episode 8, obviously, I hated it. And then I, went from hating it to and then Episode 9, I'm like, yeah, screw Episode 8 when it came out. This is awesome. And then I realized that movie's a fucking mess. I never want to watch it again. It gives me a headache. But then, you think about this Obi-Wan show. I think everybody held this Obi-Wan show with such a reverence before it came out because you have a legacy character in Obi-Wan. The Mandalorian is Boba Fett without the name. Fans of that show, new fans of Star Wars won't admit it. They'll sit there and be like, well, Mandalorian's better than Boba Fett. He's cooler. No, they literally took Boba Fett's characterizations from the movies based off scripts and screenplays and his characteristics from certain expanded universe material, and they gave it to this character and named him Mandalorian. Mandalorian and Jango Fett are all based off of everybody loving Boba Fett. So they're like, Boba Fett's overrated. No, he really kind of helped create all this shit. But then you don't have, and then they fail with a Boba Fett show, but people can chalk that up as, well, that's just a character. He's not supposed to be entertaining by himself. He needs to be a supporting character, which he will be in season 3 of Mandalorian. But this was supposed to be this legacy thing. It's oh man, this is gonna be so awesome. And my biggest gripe is you can't give me a 6-hour story. Each episode should be an hour long. Yeah, you're only giving me 6. I'm not asking for a 24 episode season of Star Trek The Next Generation. I'm just asking for 6 awesome episodes as a limited series. Yeah, this is what they characterize.
This most recent episode is definitely the shortest one. I think it was only 37 minutes long or something. But that's not even counting the 6 minutes of credits that you get. Or that is including the 6 minutes of credits. So really you're getting a 31 minute episode.
Yes, and it's that's my biggest complaint. I think everybody's acting fine. Ewan McGregor's awesome, and then seeing Vader as a bad guy, there's no remorse. Disney could have went the route of, well, let's make him an anti-hero. He wasn't. He was ruthless, and this is what they're showing him as, which is awesome. And I really like that, and I hope the next 2 episodes finish strong, because if not, I will be kind of worried about it. I think the next show coming out is going to be the Ahsoka show.
Yeah,
No.
I think it is. I think that's supposed to premiere later this year, and then the Mandalorian, the Mandalorian season 3 is in February, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Which
I think they got that Andor show coming too.
Oh, you know what? I think that Andor show is next.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I don't. Which I'll give that a chance. But in that Ahsoka show, I've never watched the Clone Wars, so I don't really. I know like the general stuff that happens with that character, but I don't know really a lot to be like, yeah, man, I'm so excited for that show. Like, I'm not really, after Obi-Wan is over, I'm not really excited about anything until Mandalorian season 3.
Yeah, I will suggest. I haven't went back to it because my work schedule has been a little busy. I've been watching Star Wars Rebels, which is a show that bridges the gap between episodes 3 to the original movie.
Do they yell?
Do what?
Do they yell in that show?
Sometimes.
Rebel yell.
Well, I don't understand. What's the joke?
Rebel yell, the song.
Oh, okay, my bad. I'm such an idiot. I'm like, I may have had a brain fart there. It's a really good cartoon, and I'm gonna go back and watch the Clone Wars stuff, which is like 7 seasons.
Actually, it's not a cartoon. It's a highly productive animated feature.
That is true. Excuse me. I've got 2 more seasons on that. I'm gonna finish it up. And I'm gonna go back and watch Clone Wars. I never gave it a chance because I'm fucking old. I don't care about cartoons, but here I am still watching Dragon Ball Z.
I sat down a couple years ago and tried to watch the movie. The animated movie,
the Clone Wars movie.
Yeah. And I think I got like 20 minutes in. I was like, yeah, I don't like this, and turned it off.
I think that movie has been decanonized. They used it as like a pilot for the Clone Wars show, but I think Disney has decanonized it since then because I guess it didn't fit later on what they did.
Okay. Good.
But Ahsoka, she gets introduced in like the 2nd or 3rd season of Clone Wars, and it's a whole little thing you don't even see in episode 3. Like, you wouldn't know Anakin had a Padawan or anything like that, which is cool. They're still going with it.
Which is weird that he had a Padawan because he wasn't a Jedi Master. So, but whatever, Yeah, I'm sure they explain it in the show. I just, like I said, I've never seen it. So,
yeah, I've just picked up the details, and I'm like I said, I'm in Rebels because I wanted to see that because I like Darth Maul, and the fact they bring Darth Maul back in Clone Wars is really cool.
With his spider legs. I have watched.
Yeah, he looks kind of like the Scorpion King in The Mummy Returns.
Does he also look? But he doesn't look like a PS2 model character.
Oh my god, yeah. You know what? A channel I watch on YouTube called 616 Entertainment. They do a lot of like wrestling. He does a lot of wrestling stuff, and he also does Mortal Kombat stuff. And they did a review of Mortal Kombat Annihilation, which is a terrible movie. I still watch it because it's Mortal Kombat. But the one great special effect of that movie is Motaro. And it's a fucking big, gigantic dude who was on American Gladiators. And they actually have the horse legs. And he looks good for, CGI. And it is a 1997 movie. Well, 4 years later in The Mummy Returns, you have The Rock as a half human, half scorpion creature. And like you said, he looks like something at best off a PS3.
No, I don't even think
HDMI.
I don't even think he looks that good. I think he straight up looks like a PS2 era character model, like maybe late.
But PS2 would be like real pixelated though, because there's no HDMI.
Yeah.
So that's the only thing. It's like, I couldn't believe, like, especially that was a bigger studio than Warner Brothers that did that movie. Yeah. It's Universal, and it just came out. But anyway, like I said, I really like Obi-Wan. I hope it finishes strong and gets my faith back.
Yeah, we'll see. Maybe
with the writer.
Maybe we'll do a quick recap on the episode after next, because I think that'll be when the show's finished. So,
yeah. Well, okay. Well, that said, we went 34 minutes on that. Cool. We are covering today
Commando,
a movie. Do what?
Commando. A
movie that, okay, as a kid, I've told the story, I think, vaguely throughout episodes. My dad used to work night shift. So I would never see him during the day because I went to school. Well, I would always be able to stay up Friday nights because, you didn't have school Saturday, and hang out with my dad when he got home from work. And we'd always watch movies. Well, he always liked watching military movies and war movies, and I hated them. Like, they were boring. Like, absolutely boring. I didn't want to watch them. Like, come on. And then he showed me 2 movies that really were like a bridge for me to enjoy other movies. Maybe it hit me at the right time, maybe it didn't. The first movie is 1986's Heartbreak Ridge with Clint Eastwood. And it's a fictional account of the Army going into, for Grenada? No, what is that thing? In the 90s, I can't remember. It only lasts for like a day. Everybody,
I'm not sure.
In anger management, he yells, "Grenada!" I can't, damn it, hold on. The story of Heartbreak Ridge centers around a U.S. Marine nearing retirement who gets a platoon of undisciplined Marines into shape and leads them during the American invasion of Grenada in 1983. And it's a B movie, and it's highly entertaining. Not just because the action is, like, the fighting is good, but everybody has entertaining characters. That movie, and then this movie, Commando, which isn't a military movie. It is a video game movie.
Yeah.
It's a comic book movie. This movie right here, obviously he's dressed up like that, and they came out like a year apart. But obviously I ended up watching them way later. But these 2 movies where I was able to bridge me actually liking watching war movies and seeing the humor in some of the stuff, and being able to appreciate them more. But this movie is 1985's Commando, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger, directed by Mark L. Lester. I was going to say Lester the Molester, but Cody's going to cut that out. Now, it is written as a screenplay by Stephen E. DeSouza, and the original story was written by a man named Joseph Loeb, Loeb. Now, this guy is a comic book writer. He looks like he wrote Batman Hush, Batman The Long Halloween, and quite a few Spider-Man and Hulk and Daredevil comic books. And the fact that he wrote Batman The Long Halloween, which was like the basis for The Dark Knight and for The Batman, it's got a little bit. And he was also the head of Marvel's television back in 2010. But he wrote the original script as a script for I believe an Israeli soldier who renounced the violence, but he ended up having to, go back and start fighting. Well, he left the project, and they had somebody else. They wanted Arnold Schwarzenegger to do the movie, so they changed the script around to fit Arnold. And Arnold at this point had only done like the Terminator and the Conan the Barbarian movies, so this was a little bit different for him. And
you can tell,
obviously,
because his acting is not good in this movie.
Yeah, but the whole thing is like everybody in this movie knows what this movie is. It's campy.
Yeah, it's very campy.
Yeah, they're not pretending anything.
Yeah,
like the stuff. I'm
not even saying that. Like, I'm just saying, like, as an actor, just purely as an actor for this film, like he's not. He's
very
good.
frigid.
Yeah,
yeah. Somebody made a comment. I was listening to a bunch of reviews today at work. Somebody made a comment that it looked like if Arnold smiled, his face would crack. Which is a good point. I never thought about that. But yeah, he's obviously getting into his... Because, the last movie he did was a year before was The Terminator. Mm-hmm. And, he said he didn't have to... He was attracted to the role because, the first 5 minutes at least, he plays a normal person. Like, it shows him having fun. He's not playing a robot from another time. He's not playing a barbarian. He's fully clothed, or he's not, stripped down to look like a robot and all this other stuff. So it was different for him. And this movie is the quintessential Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. Like, it's awesome, dumb action, awesome one-liners, and just, everything. It's just, this movie is constantly looking at the camera and winking at the audience, saying, "Hey, we know what we're doing here. Let's have fun."
After every time he kills somebody, he has some cheesy line, like when he drops that dude off the cliff, and she's like, "Where is he at?" "I let him go." You know,
Oh my god, oh my god, we'll get into that. So like I said, my first experience with this movie was when I was younger, probably around 10 or 11, to be honest. Cody, was this your first experience with the movie?
Yeah. Ow, fuck! I just hit my elbow. Shit.
Oh, I was about to ask you what the hell that was.
Yeah, this is the first time I've ever seen this movie, so I watched it yesterday. It's one of those things because, like you said when you were growing up, like you were just turned off by military action movies. I've never really been a big action movie fan. Like it has to have like drama or something underlying it, or being the main focus of it, rather with action as like a side thing. Because I've just never been into the whole like big bombastic type stuff. I know that's a very basic way of describing it, but anyway,
that's very liberal of you. I'm just kidding.
So I never watched this movie because I always just assumed that, oh, this is just another one of those dumb, military action movies from the 80s, which it kind of is, but like you said, it's very tongue in cheek.
Yes.
So it was actually pretty enjoyable to watch because of that.
Hell yeah!
I mean,
that's what I'm talking about.
If it would have just been a straight up like, because when the movie starts, I was like, okay, his daughter's gonna get kidnapped or killed, and he's just gonna go like tearing through all these people, and it's gonna be kind of boring and just hunt them down and take them out. But just the campiness of it really, like, to me, elevated the movie. So yeah, but yeah, this was my first time watching it. So
okay, I have another question for you. What was your first ever Arnold Schwarzenegger movie you ever watched? If you can go back that far, I'm just curious.
I know exactly what it is. It's Jingle All the Way.
Oh, is it? Okay. I really don't think I've ever watched that movie.
I love that movie, and I watched it again a couple years ago. I think it was on Netflix or Hulu or something at that time, and watching it again, like it doesn't hold up as well. It is a 90s movie, but it's still it is still a good movie. I really like it.
That's and it wouldn't be complete if you didn't do his famous Mr. Freeze line for us.
Oh. What killed the dinosaurs? The Ice Age.
Oh god. I was listening to I have YouTube Premium now, so shout out to YouTube. And you can listen to any video like with your screen off like it was a podcast. Mm-hmm. So I listened to this guy Gamer Thumb TV. I'm shouting out to everybody today. Playing like games. I'll listen to his streams because most of his videos are like 4 to 6 hours long, and my work shift's like 8 hours long, so it gets me through a work shift. And it doesn't kill your battery. Like Spotify will eat my battery in like 4 hours. I mean, after listening to a whole day's worth of YouTube Premium, I'm still at like 65% on my phone, so it's awesome. But he had a sound effect when somebody would donate to his page on a stream, and it was what killed the dinosaurs, the Ice Age. And I'm like, every time it popped up, I was thinking of Cody. I'm like, oh my god, this is great. Now, if you would notice, Cody, that this movie, because you've seen the first Predator movie, right?
Yeah, I have.
The first, this movie is like a pre-Predator movie. Because Bill Duke, who is the tall African-American gentleman with the shaved head in this movie that he, fights in the hotel room, he's the dude who's constantly shaving his face in Predator. And, he's the one, they're like, hey, could you have killed something bigger when he kills that pig? And he's like, hey, fuck you, man. In Predator, it's the same actor.
Huh.
And I think the guy they wanted to have direct this movie ended up directing another movie, but he eventually directed Predator and he directed Die Hard. And the same guy who produced like Lethal Weapon and Die Hard produced this movie. And, and when it comes to like plot for this movie, there's not going to be a lot to cover. Me and Cody are probably going to be discussing a lot of funny one-liners mainly. But there was one guy I wanted to go over with you. Not the South American president of Valverde, which is a fictional Hollywood country that shows up in Die Hard 2. It's mentioned, and it's also technically the jungle in the first Predator movie is actually in Valverde,
Huh.
and it's because it's the same writer of those 3 movies.
Gotcha.
The guy who plays Captain Bennett, Vernon Wells. What is it? Have you heard of this guy before?
Okay, remind me who Captain Bennett is, because I really don't remember anybody's name from this movie.
He's the dude that gets knocked into the electric fence and gets a fucking energy boost at the end.
Oh, the one he's wearing like the chain like vest or whatever.
Vest, yes.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
He's like, ah! Starts kicking the shit out. He's like, damn, I feel good, John. I'm like, this is awesome.
No, I don't. I've never really heard of this guy or anything about him.
Well, you're going to be very surprised by this. I mean, he's done some other things, but he's the big mohawk motherfucker in The Road Warrior.
oh.
The one that's like, no. That one?
Yeah.
That's him. That's Vernon Wells.
Huh. It's always nice
So
when we can connect these back to movies we've covered in the past.
I know, it's awesome. It blew my mind because I was just watching, a video talking about the Road Warrior facts, and they talked about Vernon Wells, and they said he was in Commando. I'm like, where the fuck was he at in Commando? And it turns out he was Bennett, and I've watched Commando my whole life. It blew my fucking mind because he doesn't look like that at all in the Road Warrior.
Right.
But when I look at his face and see his eyes, I'm like, yeah, he's got those steel blue eyes. And, I can tell where his hairline is always because he's got like perfect hair like you. I can tell where his hairline is in the Road Warrior, and it's the same as it is in this movie. And the Road Warrior came out in like 82 or something like that. And this movie came out in 83, so it was pretty close.
Right.
And he's an Australian actor mainly, but he's done other things in American films. But, I mean, there's a lot of good character actors in this movie. I want to shout out to Sully, which is played by David Patrick Kelly. Cody, you would recognize him. He's the little snitch in Adam Sandler's The Longest Yard. The one that's like, he's fast,
yeah.
real fast.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's him. I just remember like watching that movie like within the last year or two, thinking, "Oh my God, that's the dude from Commando." And he's in like a bunch of other movies. He's in The Warriors. He's like a little creep in that movie too. But and then obviously Bill Duke, who plays Cook, and Bill Duke actually directed quite a few features, and he also plays in Predator. Because as a kid, I'd watched Predator first, then I watched this. I'm like, man, is Predator a sequel to Commando? Which is just me being stupid, but there are some similarities of this big beat 'em up thing. Well, I guess we can go over the plot. Arnold Schwarzenegger's daughter gets kidnapped, and he does everything he can to get her back. That's the plot.
Yeah, and the reason she's kidnapped, it was kind of lost on me, I guess. They kidnap her because they want him to do some kind of job for them, right?
Yeah, the job is, the kind of backstory you get is that the main guy, I wish I could, let me try to find that dude's name real quick because it's going to bother me. Not Javin. President Arias is Dan Hedaya is the actor. He, I think that's him. Hold on. Yes, that's him. Anyway, his character was overthrown by John Matrix, which is an awesome name for Schwarzenegger's character. I guess him and his commando team, and they were given new leadership in the South American country of Valverde. And that's the whole thing, is like he wants to get his country back, so they're sending him down there because he can get close to the president, and then he can kill the president and let that guy take his power back.
Gotcha.
And then I think it's assumed that the bad guy group is like all these guys that Matrix has wronged or thwarted their plans or something like that. It's kind of like his own little Legion of Doom. That's the way I always thought of as a kid. It's like, oh, so it's kind of like that. Okay, it makes more sense.
It is kind of like a mismatched group of people that are running this operation. And of course, we know that the one guy, I can't remember what is his name, Bennett.
Yeah, Bennett.
He was part of his group or whatever that went down there, and they left him for dead apparently.
Well, no, what happened with him? He was kicked out of the group. And Mr. Vernon Wells said that he played the character as the character hates John Matrix, but he's also in love with John Matrix. So there might be like this kind of like undertone of hostility that comes from this guy. It wasn't super deep, but that's why he's like the character. And Vernon Wells wasn't the original actor playing Bennett. That's why the vest and the pants he wears are kind of tight. They were actually measured for somebody else, and then he came in last minute to replace the actor that got fired. Mm-hmm. So that's why it's a little bit smaller on him.
Gotcha.
But I always just got he was just insane. But Vernon Wells said that, hey, the way that the character was wrote, that the character is in love with John, and he also hates him and wants to kill him. So,
well, I mean, have you seen his physique in this movie?
Well, it's funny because he's kind of pudgy, and nothing against. I'm fat, so I'm not saying that. It's just kind of funny.
I'm talking about Arnold. Arnold.
Oh, got you. Okay.
I was thinking, you think Arnold's pudgy in this? Like,
no. I was thinking, like you said, well, look at his physique, and my mind was going to him being clumsy when he breaks through the wall, he falls down, and him just looking kind of fat.
But like,
and I'm thinking, well, it's been 3 years since he was looking fit in the Road Warrior when he had to wear assless chaps.
It's like you're the director on this movie, and Arnold shows up, and you're like, damn it, Arnold, why are you here? You're so fat!
Fuck! There's a funny story I gotta tell real quick, because we haven't covered Predator yet, and I think we will eventually. But Jesse Ventura said that Arnold always had like a big 18-wheeler that had like a built-in gym in the trailer. And, Arnold would go in there and you have this whole thing so he could work out, because obviously Arnold's image was his first and foremost thing for him to be a movie star. Because Arnold's like a fucking fantasy. Every dude in the 80s and the 90s would watch Arnold go, man, I wish I was that dude. Excuse me. And
man, I wish I was that dude. And then you hear a Budweiser crack open.
Yeah, exactly. And I can't complain because, I was like, I wish I was that dude when I'm eating my taquitos. I'm like, yeah, I need another plate, sweetheart. And sweetheart, I'm talking to myself because I'm home alone. I just don't want to feel depressed.
You just have a mirror set up in the kitchen, angled perfectly at you sitting on the couch. Like, I need another plate, sweetheart.
I'm like Norman Bates talking to his mother in his head, and it's like, I'm talking to skinny Lance. It looks like Arnold. But Jesse Ventura said that Arnold would always be there early working out. And, Jesse was a former bodybuilder, got into wrestling, and then became an announcer. So Jesse was trying to, like, get there early and, beat Arnold to working out. And, that's how he ended up striking up a friendship with Arnold. And Arnold introduced Jesse to his agent, and Jesse got an agent and then made a bunch of money in wrestling as just an announcer. But Jesse said he kept showing up. And then he said, yeah, I got there one time at like 4 a.m. and I took my shirt off and I dumped it in, I run it underneath the sink and it made it all wet, and then put the shirt on and I started working out, and Arnold came in a couple minutes later and saw me, and he told his bodyguard, he's like, look, Jesse's already here covered in sweat. We need to get here early. And he had just showed up like a minute before. So I imagine Arnold had like, his old 18-wheeler with the little gym and everything here, because he's fucking ripped. But this movie, I watched the making of feature they had on the DVD set that somebody put on there. And everybody started out like, this is one of the greatest movies you'll ever watch. And then it goes to Vernon Wells, who still has wonderful hair. And he's like, this is one of the deepest movies you'll ever watch. And they go to one of the writers. They go to one of the writers of the movie, and he's like, I based everything off of my experiences in the United States Army. And they cut to something else, but then it cuts to everybody like, okay, look, this movie's having fun. That's what we were doing. Like, we wanted everything to be over the top. Yeah, so that's movie, and we'll go ahead and do a quick thing. It shows a quick couple scenes. And God, everything in this movie is so fucking quotable. Like the first couple scenes where like one guy's sleeping and he hears the trash truck and he thinks, oh man, trash is running on Tuesday, what? So he runs out there and he goes, hey guys, I thought you were going to forget me. And they back up the truck, and then Bill Duke pulls down his bandana from around his mouth. He goes, don't worry, we won't, and just fucking shoots him. And nobody comes out to check, which is awesome. Yeah. And then Bill Duke is buying a car, backs the car up in the showroom and runs over the dude and pulls out in the street. And then they show Bennett, and then Bennett's boat blows up. Well, you find out, the next couple scenes after the opening montage that those are members of his team that were given new identities, and they were being killed off. And then you find out that, Bennett isn't dead. Well, we got to talk about one scene. The epic Arnold Schwarzenegger pushing his big Chevrolet truck down the hill.
Yeah.
That shit was fucking incredible. As a kid, it blew my mind because obviously I'm like, oh my God, I wonder if the Ultimate Warrior could do that. Because I'm an idiot and I'm associate everything with wrestling. And he looks in there and all the wires have been pulled out of the engine compartment. So he just slams the hood and starts pushing this thing up a little hill to get it going down a hill, and then jumps in the truck. And he's steering it like he's driving it, but you obviously can tell nothing's fucking happening. And it's just like, and then the car going down the hill with his daughter in it makes 2 loops on these roads, and he keeps running into him. He's like, he's coming, he's got no brakes. And it's a fucking sight because the first opening, like the opening credits music that Cody was like, this music is relentless.
Oh well, that reminds me though. Before that scene in the beginning of the movie, there's like a sitcom ass intro where like the
man, that's a fucking sex jazz intro. That ain't sitcom. That's a oh baby, I'm on the couch waiting for you.
Well, the reason I say it's a sitcom intro is because it's like you got the opening credits or whatever, and then there's like all these scenes where like him and his daughter are fishing and smiling cheesily at each other, and then there's one of him like teaching her martial arts, and it's just like, oh my gosh, this is like the just type of stuff you see in like the Full House opening or something.
That is true, and the thing was though, you'd never seen Arnold at this point on screen do this, so it was way different. And the music, it's funny. The guy who wrote the music for this movie, did the music for 48 Hours before this, and they said he took a bunch of his music cues from that movie and just kind of pasted them on this movie. He also wrote the music for Aliens, which is Alien Part 2. And he used a couple music cues from this movie on that movie. So I guess he kind of reused the stuff a lot.
That makes
and
sense,
the music
though.
guy, let me go ahead and give a name. Yeah, I mean, I'm not musically creative. I can only imagine. It's hard enough for me to write in a fucking Mother's Day card.
I mean, especially like if you're composing a ton of stuff for a particular film, and I'm sure like maybe some stuff is pulled from older movies that was actually used, but a lot of it's probably like, oh well, I scored this for this film, but it wasn't actually used, so I'm just gonna use it here,
Yes, and the guy's name is. Oh, he did that. Interesting.
Fred Durst.
That would be awesome. His name is James Horner, and he died in 2015. But he did. Let me just go ahead and music borrowing. He was criticized for using passages from his early compositions. That's interesting. Let me see here. Give me a list of scores. Of course, it's another fucking page. I hate Wikipedia sometimes.
Yeah, I don't understand.
This dude, he did like. Sorry, go ahead.
I don't understand why he's criticized for that. Because, like I said, if he's still the composer, it's not like he was stealing it from other people.
Yeah, he was stealing it from himself. I think people kind of criticize the guy who scored the Dark Knight movies, Hans Zimmer, for doing the same thing. Like his themes all sound the same.
Yeah.
Which like I said, I can't write music, so I can't speak on it. I just know that every Nickelback song sounds the same. Every Metallica song sounds the same. Every AC/DC song sounds the same. And those bands made a shit ton of money, so I can't criticize them. They're obviously doing something right. But this movie, like I said, it's just jam packed. Obviously, he slams the door when Bennett tells him that he's dropping him off at the airport, and he gets back in the car. He goes, "I'll be back, Bennett," which is obviously a callback to Terminator, what he just did the year before. "I'll be back," and then everything. When Sully, the little short guy, is like, "Hey, here's some money. Have a few beers on us. We'll have a little more time with your daughter." I use this line at work all the time because I have this annoying kid I work with. And he'll say something he thinks is funny. I'll go, "You're a funny guy. I like you. That's why I'm going to kill you last." and and no one else gets the reference. My girlfriend watched this movie and fell asleep, so she doesn't care about it.
She doesn't care.
She doesn't care. But yeah, it's like all these one-liners. And then when he's fighting Bill Duke, in the hotel, and Bill Duke's like, "You scared, motherfucker? You should be, 'cause this Green Beret's gonna kick your big ass." And then Arnold's like, "I ate Green Berets for breakfast, and right now I'm very hungry." And it's so funny. And then he hits them, and they go flying into the other hotel room, and this couple comes up from having sex, but the dude is on his hands and knees underneath the woman, and it's really weird.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, and then there's like a couple continuity things. It's like when he's fucking with Sully's car, like when he's trying to ram him against the wall to get him to stop, and Sully's car gets fucked up on the side. Arnold pushes the car back over, and the whole side of the car is all fucked up like it should be. Well, when he drives off, it's all brand new, like they just used another car and didn't worry about the shot.
That's weird. I didn't notice that either.
It's just funny. It's just this kind of cheap thing. The movie was supposed to cost $9 million. It cost $10 million. So, when he's holding Sully upside down over the cliff, and he's like, "Hey, Sully, remember when I told you I'd kill you last?" And he's like, "Yeah, you did." He goes, "I lied." And he drops him. And I don't know, you didn't notice this. You get a chance to look it up on the clip, and I'll give you a clip so you can put it right here.
That it was a rag
when Sully
doll.
falls down, do what?
That it was a rag doll.
Well, it's a rag doll, but when Sully's going down the hill, he yells, "Ooh la la!" I swear to God, I'm not lying. It's hilarious. Once you hear it, you can't unhear it.
Oh man. Where's Sully?
And then
I let him go.
And when he's fighting with Duke, I keep jumping around the fights. He's fighting with Duke. He goes to pick him up. He grabs him by his dick, and and Duke goes, "Oh!" And then Arnold, he fights off like 40 security officers at a mall.
Yeah.
And it's just ridiculous. Like, it's just, this movie is made to Arnold look like the superstar he is.
There's that,
and
there's
funny
that
thing,
one, there's that one shot where like 20 of them pile on top of him. He just like stands up and throws his hands up, and they all go flying back. It's like,
oh dude,
my
that's
gosh.
straight up Ultimate Warrior. Like Ultimate Warrior would get up, like, knock everybody back. There's a scene. Okay, that mall actually is the same mall that was used in Terminator 2. By the way, I found that out today, and there was something. Oh, when that one security officer, when they find Arnold, he goes, "Found the suspect, 6'2", brown hair. He's one gigantic motherfucker." There's just so many, and he's just like fighting everybody. And then when Arnold, I'm pretty sure it's all ADR'd. When he's like, yeah, he's fighting people, he's like chopping, and the fucking like the fake punch sound effects in this movie is like 100% incredible. Something you would hear in a comic book cartoon. It's like, oh my god, it's like slap. It's just awesome. And then I guess we'll go to, well, first off, we got to do I missed the whole point when we went to the plane.
I was actually going to bring up the plane because I was going to say when he jumps out, like, at first I thought he was going to like tuck and roll on the runway. I was like, no way. I mean, you would die. I mean, that plane is going like 100-something, 200 miles per hour. You would die doing that. And then he jumps out, and I'm looking at the ground, when he, and I'm like, there's not a whole lot of water down there. It's like a pretty good mix of water and land. And
it's a very small impact too.
Yeah, it's a very small impact. I was like, that ain't that is not the trajectory that he would have had jumping off of that thing.
When he kills that dude and he's putting the blanket up and then fucking elbows him in the face and then just kind of snaps his neck. And then he puts the hat over the dude's face and covers him up, and he tells the stewardess, he goes, "Oh, don't disturb my friend. He's dead tired."
Yeah.
It's like, oh. It's this whole thing. And then when he falls into like a bunch of weeds, and his ass catches him on like, I always thought it was like he caught himself on like the edge of the water, the edge of the bank.
Yeah.
But it's just very like if you had just fallen down in a puddle is exactly the like impact it had for him falling. Like
again, he would have died. Like
yes, he would be dead. And Man, I'm trying to think like anything that was memorable in the middle, because the rest of it's just like, well, he breaks into a gun shop to steal a bunch of guns. He gets arrested. The chick uses.
He ends up.
Well, the chick, we gotta mention her.
Yeah, the flight attendant. Which I don't remember. Again, I don't remember anybody's name in this movie, but he actually essentially kidnaps her to go to the mall, and it's weird to me because so he opens the door.
Well, he rips the car seat out.
He rips the car seat out, and I'm like, oh, okay, that kind of makes sense because he's gonna duck. He's gonna be able to duck down and not be seen.
There's not much difference,
but they pull up to the gate or whatever. There's like a security gate they pull up to, and he's just like sitting up, like the seat is there. So it's like, what was the point in pulling the seat out of the car?
It's so good, man. I swear. And Sully is extremely sleazy. He's trying to pick her up.
Yeah.
Multiple times.
And then he calls her a whore whenever she rejects him.
Oh my god. It's one of the funniest like fucking fuck you lines ever. He's like, oh, you don't know what you're missing. She goes, from where I'm standing, it looks like a nightmare. Will you please leave me alone? He goes, you fucking whore. It's fucking so stupid. I mean, it's so deliberately cheesy.
It is cheesy, but that line, it does make me think like that's shit that actually happens now. It's like,
oh yeah,
guys hitting on women and all that, and they reject them, and they're like, "Oh, you're nothing but a slut anyway," or whatever, because their ego is hurt. So I mean, it's
so typical though.
Yeah,
but it's so funny in this movie because you're like, the way they're playing it, because the guy plays sleazy characters all the time. It's just perfect. Yeah, he has. Let's see, Arnold. And the whole thing is Arnold jumps off the plane. We didn't even cover that part. Arnold jumps off the plane because he's not going to go kill the president of the South American country Valverde.
Yeah, he jumps off the plane, and when he does, he sets his timer.
And he's got 11 hours to catch his wife. I don't think a watch makes that kind of noise. The watch has a timer like it's a bomb on his wrist about to blow up, and you only hear it 2 times when he looks at it. Like, boop, boop.
Yeah.
Boop. And like this movie is very much like I said, it's tongue in cheek and funny with all the humor. Like, yeah, this movie's an action movie, but we're having fun with this. We want you to have fun with this. But it's also like helping kindergartners color inside the lines. It's like they're helping us. It's like, hey, look, he has time. The time's clicking off. Boop. But you would think. Well, I think that's a watch, but that noise makes it sound like a watch. I think that's a watch.
If that watch was making that noise, you would think all the times he's like sneaking around and stuff, someone would hear like, what the hell's that beeping noise?
Boop, boop, boop. Bill Duke is like, he's standing right behind the door. Like when Bill Duke goes into the hotel room, it's just like, boop, boop. Bill's like, what the hell's behind the door? There's another line Bill Duke has, and he finally gets the gun. He's like, fuck you, asshole. And he goes to shoot him. It's like, click, click. And Arnold goes, fuck you, asshole. And then let's just go ahead and skip to, like I said, there's a lot of other action stuff in the middle of all this stuff. There's a quick little cameo from Bill Paxton. That's the guy from Aliens that was like, game over, man. Game over. And he's like, we lost him, sir. And he also plays a punk in the original Terminator movie. When the Terminator first shows up, you got those dudes got the 3 different colored hair all spiked up. He's the one with the blue hair. So he's also in True Lies. So he's in like 3 Arnold movies. Trying to think here. And then, like I said, Arnold gets there. He gets to the island, and Arnold Schwarzenegger kills an island full of people.
Oh, let's before the island, I wanted to mention, they robbed the surplus store, right? And,
yeah.
He's being hauled off in the paddy wagon, and she pulls up. She's like kind of being flirtatious with the cops or whatever, and then
trying to distract them or get their attention. Yeah,
and then she pulls a rocket launcher out. I'm like, this shit would kill him again. What is the idea here? It's like, I'm going to shoot this rocket and hopefully he survives.
Dude, I'm telling you, it's because it's a video game.
Yeah. I mean,
this is video game logic before video games.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Then it's the best part when she pulls up, the cops are like, hey, and the guy looks at his partner and goes, hooker. And then he goes back to trying to have a conversation with her. this movie just probably like inspired like legions of stuff like Gears of War, Contra, and all this stuff like that. It's like, oh man, remember Commando? This movie actually has a Russian sequel that came out in like 2003, and then also has like an Israeli movie that just remade it like 4 years ago.
Is the Russian one
called Commando?
Is the Russian one called Comrade?
It's called. Did you say Lawman?
Comrade.
Oh, Comrade. And I was gonna say it's Steven Seagal, Lawman, Russian. Steven Seagal.
Oh man! But it's Steven Seagal when he's like fat and old.
It is. And Owen. Oh God, Owen always made this quote. There's this movie where Steven Seagal is superimposed on these Chinese actors in this movie.
Oh my gosh!
And he's like, hey, speak American. It's so stupid.
Oh man!
I swear to God. Oh God! And when you get back to Arnold, so he kills an island full of people. Like there's literally they kept reusing stunt doubles, and one of the facts videos, like some of these stunt doubles died 4 or 5 times in this movie. Like it just kept showing Arnold was like fucking everybody up. Like every gun is like unlimited bullets.
Yeah.
Until he's out, he just throws the guns down and has more guns.
Yeah.
And he gets hit one fucking time. And he's like, oh, my side. And then he goes limping and into a shed to hide. And he hides up in the ceiling of it because they like trying to like shoot all throughout the whole shed thinking he's dead. And then one dude gets stabbed with a pitchfork. Another dude gets his hairpiece knocked off with a saw. And he keeps throwing like saws at these dudes like they're fucking like boomerangs. And they get stuck in them like, ugh! And then one dude gets his fucking hand cut off and shit. It's insanity. Like, this is the stuff you would do. Okay, this is me on Star Wars Fallen Order playing on the easy mode. I take no damage, and I'm killing everybody. And it's like, yeah, motherfucker, I'm a badass.
Yeah, I mean,
this is literally like a cheat code.
This scene, and like, there's other scenes in the movie, too, that make me think, like, oh, yeah, this is definitely like a video game where, for example, you said that the guy's name's Bill Duke.
That's the actor's name. The character's name is Cook.
Okay, so when he kills Cook in the motel, the flight attendant sees him die, and then like 2 seconds later, it's like nothing ever happened. You just saw a man. You saw a man getting impaled, and you're just like, whatever. It's all smiles and laughs. Let's drive off somewhere. That's like Uncharted. There's like a joke in the Uncharted community because those games, like, you go through and you shoot hundreds of people, and yet Nathan Drake's still like cracking one-liners and stuff and being jovial. It's like, you are you killed tons of people in this game, but like it doesn't affect you at all. That's sort of how this is. It's just like, all right, whatever,
Yeah. I mean, this movie had to have influence on a lot of stuff. A lot of people said that Contra took some influence from it because Contra came out like 2 years later on the NES. Mm-hmm. And, just a couple other things people mentioned, like, man, it had to have been. And it's just so funny because, like, everything, it's like, okay, buy the book. But it also knows it's having fun with it, too. It's not taking itself super seriously because this stuff is ridiculous. Every time somebody gets blown up, they do like 3 flips and hit the ground.
Right, yeah.
And there's a couple times in the scenes where they get blown up, you can honestly tell that they're fake little body sacks because they're not real people who go flying in the air.
Yeah.
And we'll cut to Jenny. Jenny escapes from her captivity and runs to like a boiler room of all places.
And Freddy Krueger's there waiting for her.
Yeah. Ooh, I'm gonna go down that way.
I've got you now, bitch.
Welcome to prime time, bitch. That's from Dream Warriors. And then not Bill Duke, but Bennett's character chases after her. He breaks through the wood wall, which you can obviously tell looks like cardboard when he breaks through it, but it was wood like right before it.
Yeah.
And when he breaks through it, I don't know if he was supposed to break through it and then just be on his feet like Jason Voorhees, or if he thought he needed more force to break through it and went too much force and then went down, because he goes down and then hops back up and chases after her. It's hilarious. And I didn't realize that until this showing. Like, I always thought, like, oh, okay, but I mean, like, he had to have taken that shot and thought he was going to have to go a little bit heavier with like follow through, so he didn't like. They probably had like one take, so don't fuck it up.
It's like the wrestler from with the Stormtrooper helmet.
Oh yeah,
I can't remember his name.
Oh my god!
But that was like the only time.
Shockmaster.
Shockmaster, yeah. Isn't that like the only time he ever showed up? Because he.
No, the worst thing was he showed up after that. He was kind of like a comedic character. And he didn't have the helmet anymore.
Oh, I gotcha. Okay.
It's so fucking funny, and the funny thing is that wrestler is played by Fred Ottoman, who was a big wrestler, and he was tag teams with a wrestler named Earthquake, and he was Typhoon, and they were the Natural Disasters. Well, he's also brother-in-laws with Dusty Rhodes,
Ooh.
and Dusty Rhodes booked the angle.
Sweet sapphire.
Hey, well, Dusty is backstage. Someone's told the story. When this happens, Dusty's backstage just howling in laughter, and he said he heard from his wife that because Cody Rhodes is his son. He's a world famous wrestler, but Cody is obviously Fred Ottoman's nephew, and. When the Shockmaster busts through, falls down, his helmet falls off, and he puts his helmet back on. All of Cody's friends were laughing and stuff like that, and Cody goes, "I think that was Uncle Fred." And then you hear British Bulldog on the microphone. Oh, he fell on his ass. But yeah, I think it's a lot like that. You had like one shot to go ahead and do it.
Yeah.
But then they have this really epic. Small, and the reason why the fight was so small compared to the rest of the movie or so like grounded is because they ran out of a budget. So they had like the boiler room was like next door to the office that the director had. And he's like, "Hey, let's shoot the fight here." And Vernon Wells tells a little story that when he did that scene, he's like, "I could beat you, John. I don't need the girl. I don't need the gun." He's just like, "I'm going to kill you now." And he's acting all crazy. Arnold looked at the director and was like, "All right, don't give him a real knife and keep him away from me." And it was like the start of a good friendship because they're still really close today. But the fight is just back and forth, and obviously Arnold's all fucking muscular and shit, and this dude's kind of pudgy, and he's yelling at Arnold. He's telling Arnold, "You're getting old." I'm like, "Dude, you're fucking fat. Shut up."
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. It's like, he's getting old. Look at you.
I know. He's getting. I'm like, dude, and they're just like going back and forth, and it's a fucking it's a fun little fight scene, like a very much like video game.
Yeah, it's like a boss fight, and we already talked about him being knocked into the electric fence and being supercharged.
We're gonna have to play the clip in this podcast just so that when he gets hit and then he goes back into the fence. And then he comes off, starts beating the shit out of Arnold. Goes, "Damn, I feel good." And then he's like, "You're a dead man, John?" He goes, "Bullshit." And then it cuts to a quick cuts of montages of Arnold hitting him. Bam, 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 bam.
Yeah.
And then he knocks him into the I guess a big water heater. It was almost a big tub looking thing, and he's like, "John, I'm not going to shoot you between the eyes. I'm going to shoot you between the balls." And then Arnold throws a pipe at him. It impales him. And Arnold goes, "Let off some steam, Bennett." And there's steam coming out of the pipe.
Yeah, it's so silly.
It is so awesome. Because there's no way it would have went through him.
Yeah.
To get to that. It's just incredible. And then Arnold is walking through the battlefield. And the U.S. Army finally shows up. And his commander's asking him to come back and restart his team. And he says, "No chance." And it cuts in this really high thumping hair metal love song.
Is it that's basically how the soundtrack is in this whole movie?
Yeah, but see, this was a band that did this one. This was an actual band, evidently. And it's like, "We fight for love, bum bum bum. Nothing will hurt you." I'm gonna play this song at the end of this podcast. But
and then
and
there's a post-credit scene where Samuel L. Jackson shows up and recruits him to the Avengers.
Man, like I said, it is straight up a comic book movie because written by a comic book writer. But man, it's just like a video game. I didn't understand it as a kid. That's probably what drew me to it. This was a straight up action, unrealistic action movie. and it knows it's unrealistic. It's like the Friday the 13th movies. They all take themselves super serious. And like 2, 3, and 4 are really good. 4 was like great. And the 5 kind of sucks. It's not Jason. Well, part 6 comes around and it kind of reinvents the wheel because it's a very self-referential movie where it's referring to itself, how goofy this movie is. It doesn't make fun of Jason now. But everybody else, it's just kind of like, it's like Scream before Scream happened. And that movie came out a year later. And this movie's kind of like the action movies. There were action movies before this, but this was like, hey, let's have fun with the tropes. But it doesn't get into parody. It's like, if you took a step down the ladder, it would be in parody. But this knows exactly where it needs to be and what it's doing. And I think it executes it perfectly.
Yeah. I think that's an excellent way to put it. And like I said, if it was just a generic action movie that took itself seriously, it would have been extremely boring. But all of the comedic nature of the film, really makes it a much better and more enjoyable film to watch.
That's awesome. I'm glad you liked it. So I guess we'll get into recommendations. Cody, would you recommend this movie?
Yeah, I mean, for sure. And again, for years, I avoided this movie just because I did think it was a typical 80s action movie. And if you are someone who is kind of holding back or has avoided the movie for the same reasons, I would give it a shot because it's not what you think it is.
It wants you to laugh with it at the movie.
Yeah.
Everybody in this movie, they said in the interview, and everybody in this movie knows this movie is camp. And it's the definition of camp. It's really the quintessential, like I said, Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. Because going forward, his movies have catchphrases. His movies have him flexing muscles. His movies doing all this other stuff.
Everybody
this movie
chill.
is like stripped in. Exactly. And just like I said, this movie's like an outline to the Predator movie. Because, like I said, you have a lot of the same team that returns for it. You have Arnold and Bill Duke in it. You have, like, the director who was going to direct this movie involved. I think it's the same writer who's involved with Predator. It's the same producer. And it's very much like, okay, this movie is almost like just, I don't know, it's just, it exists in its own little world, and that's what's perfect. It doesn't have a sequel. Nothing was built off of it. There's a little trivia I got for you, too. It's just this perfect little movie that's self-contained. It knows what it is. Let's have some fucking fun. It's Arnold Schwarzenegger. Just enjoy it. This is not Citizen Kane. This is not Psycho. This is not Avatar, thank God. This is not The Dark Knight. This is just a movie having fun with itself. And somebody, it was phrased differently twice. There was going to be a sequel. And then Arnold left the project because he was bored with it. And the story was changed because it was supposed to be him visiting his daughter at her place of work or something like that because it was in the future. But it was changed to a cop visiting his estranged wife. And that sequel became Die Hard. Oh. So I think it was the same writer of this movie that wrote Die Hard. And he used the script that he was going to use for Arnold and changed it to fit like Bruce Willis and all that. So Die Hard, in a way, it's almost kind of connected as a sequel to this. So that's all the trivia. I definitely recommend this movie, like 100%. Don't show it to kids.
Yeah.
But it definitely is. Yeah, it's definitely not like someone who's like 15 maybe. But it's fun. And to me, like I said, it was a gateway into me enjoying action movies and enjoying Arnold Schwarzenegger movies and enjoying quote-unquote war movies. Even though this isn't a war movie, it's very military, based. And like I said, I started watching more serious war movies after this because I'm like, oh man, I enjoyed this movie. And it was a gradual thing. Like I watched Heartbreak Ridge. And then I watched Predator. And then I watched stuff like The Dirty Dozen, which is like an old 60s movie. But it's got a lot of actors I recognize, and there's some humor in it, but it's also a serious war movie. And they're killing Nazis, which is always great. So it was just kind of like, it was a gateway for me to enjoy these other movies when I was younger. So I definitely recommend it. Let's see. And like I said, we'll have hopefully a couple clips play throughout this episode, and then that really kick-ass ending song for the ending of the episode and the intro when Arnold walks up with the fucking log in his arm. I can tell you this as a kid.
A log in his arm and a hog in his pants.
Well, probably so. I will tell you this, that close-up of Arnold's feet as he's walking at the beginning of the movie, I kind of practiced walking like that because I thought he was a badass when I was a kid. So it's like this movie did have like a lot of influence on me. But, you know, like I said, like we said earlier, Owen probably won't be here on the next episode we record, so it's going to be an Owen not Owen. Owen's going to pick the movie, he's not going to be on the episode.
But it's supposed to be my lineup anyway, because you and Owen.
Yeah, it's Cody's lineup. So
this rotation.
This next movie's gonna be Cody's, but probably we're probably gonna start over. Like it's gonna be my rotation next. Hopefully, Owen will be back by that movie.
Yeah,
but if not, it'll be his movie, and then we'll be back to Cody's movie. But Cody, what's our next movie, sir?
Well, if some of you may recall, I was hyping up Evil Dead 2 for a while, but
what, like 6 months, a year?
Yeah,
I've lost track.
Something like that. But something came over me recently, and
smallpox.
Yes, actually monkeypox. From that monkey paw I carry around.
I thought you got it from Mojo Jojo.
Oh, Mojo Jojo.
Power Pokers.
Or Cornholio. I need pee-pee for my bunghole. Oh, speaking of that, real quick before I do say what the next movie is, they just all of us out of nowhere, or at least unbeknownst to me, they had announced a new Beavis and Butthead movie, like this week, and I don't like the show. I think the show sucks, but I always enjoyed like Beavis and Butthead Do America and Beavis and Butthead Do Christmas. So this one is Beavis and Butthead Do the Universe, and it's gonna be on Paramount Plus. So I'm definitely gonna watch that just to see if it can stand up to Beavis and Butthead Do America. Cause
isn't them like present day? Like they're all like old and bald now and everything.
No, I think there's.
I thought I saw a drawing of that. Like they were like fat and old and bald or some shit like that.
There may be, because it looks like there's some like time travel type stuff involved in this movie, and
okay.
Because there's like weird alien versions of them, like Martian looking versions of them in the trailer. But regardless, I thought I'd mention that.
And let me ask you this: before we get like the final nail, you say your movie. Are you excited to watch the new Dragon Ball Super movie, Superhero?
Not really.
Did you read the plot on it yet?
No, I haven't. I'll probably will watch it whenever like it's on DVD or Blu-ray or whatever. But
yeah, if it's something we could get like on a cheap, and then I'm over at your house, we can watch it. But it's very much like the Cell that's in the movie, which is the main bad guy. Doesn't talk, he just screams.
That's weird.
And he's only got like a really short fight. It's very Bio Broly like. Because
Bio
Broly, all he does is like scream and make noise and shit like that. Oh my god. And it's mainly a Gohan movie. I'm like, dude, who gives a fuck?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I just advance the fucking story with Vegeta and Goku. That's who we care about.
Well,
look, this franchise is over 30 years old. It's too late at this point to say, well, he's the next in line. No one gives a shit. Yeah. You should end this eventually.
What sucks is like the manga is still going on, and they've advanced Goku and Vegeta's storyline a lot, and the storylines actually seem a lot better than what we got out of the first batch of Super, because the Super anime, it was the first 2 seasons were like basically rehashes of the movies that they put out, and then you get the Goku,
which that's why I swore off Super, because I'm like, the fact that you redid that, and it's a lazy fucking way of doing it, like you added shit to make the movie into 13 episodes.
Yeah.
I wish Obi-Wan Kenobi as a TV series would take heed of that, because we need more content. But it's irritating because, like, just go with those 2 movies and give me something new.
Yeah.
Or just do movies. That's what I was hoping they would do, is just do movies at this point, because that would be more entertaining to me.
Yeah, because that's another problem. Like the Tournament of Power or whatever it's called in like the last season that they had, it dragged on. It's all this because you already had you had that, and then I'm pretty sure in the season before there was another like smaller tournament that happened. It's like, why are we just doing this now? Why is this the thing? So, but everything that they've done after that in the manga seems super interesting. But anyway, so the next movie, I actually picked it because a teaser for the new movie was released earlier this week, and so I'm going to pick The Hunger Games. That's going to be our next episode. You and me
I literally forgot you said that. I'm like, I kept thinking, what movie did he pick?
You and me.
Are they doing another movie, Jennifer Lawrence?
No. So the new movie is based off the prequel novel that came out a couple years ago.
Oh, okay.
This is one of those things, like you and me briefly talked about it, but I think Hunger Games was popular. Don't get me wrong, but I think more people didn't give it a chance because it released in the height of like the Twilight effect, basically. So like
the after effect of Twilight.
yeah.
Right?
So Twilight was hugely successful. And it's a movie. They're movies based off of a young adult novel series. And so
novel in the loosest sense, though.
Yeah. But then, so a lot of other companies are like, oh, well, what other young adult series out there can we take and make movies out of? So you started getting, Hunger Games and Divergent, which that's trilogy. They never even finished it. That series was terrible. They did like Mortal Instruments and Beautiful Creatures, and there were all these young adult novel-based movies that were releasing, and it just became a hodgepodge. But Hunger Games is actually very good. It doesn't have it's not bogged down a lot by like the cheesy romances and stuff that happen in a lot of those movies, and it's actually like, to me it's a pretty heavy story. But I'm not going to spoil any of that because you said you've never seen it before.
Yeah, I've literally never read the book or seen it. I know Jennifer Lawrence and Donald Sutherland is in at least one of them.
Yeah, Woody Harrelson is in it as well.
Oh yeah, I forgot about Woody.
And
Woody.
Lenny Kravitz is in it.
Are you for real?
Yeah.
Okay, I thought. Well, you said that in a way that you were about to fuck with me too.
No, Lenny Kravitz is in it. He plays a character named Senna.
American Woman. Boom, boom, boom.
But yeah, I'm not going to spoil any of the story. But yeah, so that's going to be our next movie.
Okay, real quick, how long is the movie?
Let me do a quick search of that because I'm.
Are we looking at like almost 3 hours?
No, it's nothing like that. I think at most it might be 2 hours, but I don't even think it's that long. But hold on.
I didn't know if we were looking at the Batman again. I'm like,
Batman. Here comes Peter on the clothesline, but his name's not Peter. It is Spider-Man. All right. Trying to find the actual freaking movie. Film adaptation. Okay. It is okay. So it's at 2 hours and 20 minutes.
Okay, I can deal with that.
It doesn't. To me, it definitely doesn't feel like 2 hours and 20 minutes. But we'll see.
Oh no, when I see that, I always subtract like 10 to 15 minutes off a movie because of credits.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, thank God, it's only like 2 hours long.
Yeah.
But until something surprises me, it's like, it's only 5-minute credits. It's mainly movie. I'm like, fuck.
Yeah. And like I said the other day, I went into this movie because I think Stephanie had read the books when it first got announced. She went out and got the books and read them. And we went and saw it. And I was like, oh, this movie is awesome. So I actually went back and read the trilogy at that point. And then, so I'd read them all before the second movie came out. And then they put the prequel novel out a couple years ago. Like I said, I read it. We bought it when it came out. I read it. Hell, that's one that Stephanie hasn't even read yet. But it takes place I think it takes place 64 years before the first book does. So, but
Damn, I have no idea how you find the time to read.
Well, it's a lot of
I'm more of an audiobook type of guy.
It's a lot of especially in my job, there's some times where we have downtime, so I'll read sometimes. Or I actually read that book because we were carpooling together to work. So anytime that she would drive, I would just sit in the passenger seat and read. So
you're a stronger-willed man than I am, because I used to be able to read in the car when I was younger, and then my mom made a comment. She goes, "I don't know how you can read. I always get sick when I did it," and then I started getting sick, and it just ruined it.
Yeah,
for me.
Stephanie's like that too. She comments about like because I read, I can play like handheld games or whatever. But growing up, every summer we would take like a family trip to visit other family, and all my family lives in other states. So we're on the road for 11, 12, 13 hours or more at a time. So
that sounds like so much fun.
And this being back in like the late 90s, early 2000s and stuff, you didn't have the internet on your phone, So like if you wanted something to occupy your time, you were either reading a book or listening to a CD player or playing like a Game Boy Color or Game Boy Advance or whatever. So
Gotcha. Yeah, I used to I think I had a Game Boy Advance. I was able to play it. That never bothered me. It's like just the reading the books. Like, ugh. I used to do it, and then when somebody noticed, like, I never noticed like getting motion sickness, and then until I got older, I'm like, oh god, like I could just like it feels like my eyes are moving inside of my head, and I can't stop it. It's just like miserable.
Yeah.
Well, my other movie, I'll go ahead and pick it. Hopefully, Owen's gonna be here for it. It's a movie you have watched, Cody, with me before. It's going to be called Cinderella Man, a boxing movie with Russell Crowe, directed by Ron Howard. So that will be the next movie after that.
We watched it together, but off the top of my head, I can't remember anything about it. That's probably the only time I've ever seen it.
Yeah, it is. And then Stephanie came in at the end of the movie, and you had to do a few things, so you got to miss a little bit of the ending. But so it'll be like, but you liked it then, so I'm sure you'll like the movie still. And it is based on a true story, which is really cool. And it's kind of like based off what Rocky was kind of based off the story. Gotcha. Almost, not the movie itself, but the story of this guy, since he was a real life boxer and all that.
Right.
But anyway, everybody, that was today's episode. I guess we'll title it Obi-Wan/Commando. Or Commando Obi-Wan, Commando.
Obi-Wan Commando.
Commando 1. I don't know, who gives a shit. That sounds Chinese. Like I'm trying to be...
Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Obi-Wan
Mandobi.
I fucked it up. Damn it, whatever. But anyway, thanks for listening to us this far. And then, as always... next time on Dragon Ball Z. That's it. Bye, everybody.
See ya.